And now we have 13 minutes of time for the questions and answers. So we already have some questions in. So let me start read the first question. And that's from Peggy in Malaysia. She is asking, how can we not depend on karma? We cannot control this. So does any Zen master would like to answer this question? How we cannot depend on karma? Okay, maybe Zen master the Bonk will answer that.
Who made the karma? Ask yourself, who made the karma? You say you can't control it, but our teaching is, Buddhist teaching is, you made. You made, you can take it away. Until we take responsibility for what appears in our life, we'll never be able to control anything. So we have to take responsibility for what appears. Said, anything that appears comes from something we did before. Don't judge it. Like Bobby said, like Song Hyang Zen Master said, just listen to it, see it, hear it, be present at it, greet it. Then what we do now determines the future. So if we can digest what's appearing, you can say, my karma, then you can do something useful with it, skillful. Even if you don't know what to do, then just keep it don't know. Today, someone was talking to me. They had been in a relationship 6 years, and they broke up. And they were seeing they were doing couples therapy. He called me and wanted to talk about it. And he said, during the couples therapy, it kind of came out. He felt he was on a bus, she was driving, and he was way in the back, and there were all these other things in front that were important to her. So he was really angry. And then the therapist said to him, well, weren't you complicit? Wasn't it also you that got on the bus? And that really hit him. And in a very good way. I mean, he just thought it's something he'd never thought of. That's called beginning to take responsibility for karma. If you say you can't control it, you won't be able to control it. But if you ask yourself, who's experiencing this? Whose karma is it? What am I? Then you begin to see it. And then also Wu Kuang said, everything's your teacher. So your karma is also your teacher. But you have to get rid of this idea, I can't control it. It's also not about control. Once it's clear, it changes naturally by itself. So don't make that, I can't control it.
Okay, thank you, Zen Master. And I have another question. Perhaps Zen Master Wu Kuan can answer that, because that's probably another question is referring to what you said about the conversation you have with Canadian nun who shared the way she was trained, and she was taught to just follow whatever the senior nun will tell her. And the question is again from Peggy from Malaysia, and she asked, okay, follow the teaching of the monastic without question. What if we don't understand what this monastic wants? Do we need to ask any question that time? Is it right to ask back?
Well, first of all, I presume that because Peggy is this person's name, that they are not a monastic. I am also not a monastic. So we're not really talking about monastic training here. We're talking about cultivating the attitude of being able to listen both to the message that's coming at us, and as Song Yang Zen Master said, to listen to ourselves. So Zen Master Sung San sometimes would use this teaching. He would say, don't make anything, don't hold anything, don't attach to anything. Okay? So we're always making things in our mind. And the question is to what degree what we're making is obscuring our clear perception. But because we're always making things in our mind, and that's the nature of our mind, making itself is not so much a problem. But the second part of what he would say was, don't make anything, don't hold anything. As soon as you begin to hold tightly to something, some opinion, some concept, some idea of the way you think things should be or shouldn't be, then really you're stuck. I have a book at home written by a Japanese Zen master, Uchiyama Roshi. The title of the book is interesting. It's Opening the Hand of Thought. Even if you don't read anything in the book, the title itself, Opening the Hand of Thought. As soon as we begin to hold tightly our ideas and concepts and judgments and ignore the clear message that's coming from within ourselves and from the world outside, then we're holding and we're attaching. So at that point, we can't listen to outside, can't listen to inside. So sometimes to know what to do, you can't rely on someone else, and the training of having someone else tell you what to do really is just to shave your ego down a little bit so that you can be more open and listen. So it's not important really whether we follow what someone else says or not. Sometimes follow what you think, sometimes follow what the other is saying, but not so much follow what you think, follow what seems clear. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Zen Master Wu Kuang. And we have a question from Max Andrew Contact for Zen Master Bon Xim. So for Max is writing, for us beginners, weeds of habitual thinking patterns hinder the growth of strong Zen roots. Can you guide us in better understanding how to build strong roots despite the weeds? Thank you.
I still have a little garden outside the house, and then often we have lots of weeds in this garden, and I have to pull them out. And it's interesting because it is not difficult to pull out the weeds. They easily go out. It's not really difficult. So with the patience and perseverance, how to, you can build your center. That's our roots. We can understand the roots in many ways, but basically it's our foundation, to build a strong center. Step by step, getting up every morning, to your practice, to your bows, to your sitting, with patience and perseverance. You're building up, gradually. It's easy for me. I live at the Zen Center, so we have this morning practice every day. But if you really want to make your roots strong, you have to make an effort. You have to do your practice every day. Formal practice. Not only that, but it's important. We often say moment to moment is our practice, but truly, without this formal practice every day, it's very difficult to pay attention, to be aware, to be present in the moment. So that's how you make your roots strong. Every day, some formal practice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zen Master Bon Xim. And we have a question for Zen Master Song Hyang. This is a question from Lim Sin. The question is, how to bloom the Zen flower in this pandemic that not only causing the physical, but also a mental distress? How to do that?
We have no choice. I mean, we have to be unconditional. This pandemic is nothing compared to other things that can happen, but we can't decide, oh, you think the roots are going to stop, or the stem is going to stop, or the leaves are going to stop? Well, the flower has to bloom. It's part of it. It's part of that whole system. So unconditionally, we ask, what am I? And we enter and manifest what we are through the flower. And we also have to regenerate. The flower's purpose, it has a job too. It's not just to smell good or to look pretty. It's attracting the insects, it's dropping seeds, it's reproducing. So if we have a vow and we have a direction, we can just do that till our last breath. And we have a saying in our school, how may I help you? That's our vow, that's our direction. And our full intelligence, using the whole flower, using the whole bloom, is to do our job. Find our job, do our job. Know where to place ourselves. Know when to wither, when to die, but don't make life or death. The seeds have been planted. The insects have been nourished. You've done your job. It doesn't matter if you die, just so you take that time to know what you are, who you are, and to do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, the Master Song Kyung. And next question we have from Tiffany. What happens if I stay stuck on one Kongan for the rest of my life? Okay, Zen Master Wu Kwang.
Once I sat a retreat with Edo Roshi, who was a Japanese Roshi who had a large Zen center in New York. And he told a story. He said once he was in Japan visiting a temple, and he was staying there for some days, and he observed the behavior of one particular monk, just going about his daily tasks, sweeping the courtyard, doing this and that, whatever the monk was doing. Edo Roshi said there was a certain way that he carried himself that was very ordinary but very impressive at the same time. And so finally he decided he would go up to this monk and ask the monk what Kongan the monk was working on, because he thought this monk must be very, very advanced in Kongan training. And so he asked the monk, he said, I've been watching you for days, and I really admire the way you carry yourself. What Kongan do you work on? And the monk said, to tell you the truth, I never passed the first Kongan Mu, which is what they use as the first Kongan in the Japanese tradition. So whether one passes the Kongan or not in a formal sense doesn't make any difference. The question is, how is the Kongan and you coming together and informing your life? So answering, not answering, to be stuck on something for a long time is a practice teaching in patience and tenacity to stick with something. So I sometimes look at Kongan practice like this. If a student passes some Kongan in the interview room, suddenly they have a feeling something like pride. Oh, I passed it. And then the Zen master or the teacher will ask them another Kongan, and they most likely initially cannot answer it, and so there's a feeling the wind goes out of their sails. So it's a feeling something like humiliation. So over time, if you go through this process of something like pride and something like humiliation, it's like sandpapering something. So the pride feeling gradually transmutes into a feeling of grounded confidence, and the feeling of humiliation transforms into a feeling like genuine humility. So confidence and humility are the direction of Kongan practice, whether you're passing the Kongan or not passing the Kongan. So don't be bothered by not passing the Kongan. You're getting very good training by not passing the Kongan. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Master Wu Kuang. We have lots of questions, over 40 waiting for us. Okay, but so maybe I can group some of them because they're touching the same subject. So two persons actually ask about the balancing taking care of ourselves with taking care of others. So, and also it's like if we do something to sacrifice our own desire for other people, like our parents, just to show them that we care, we treasure them, why can't we be ourselves and let others be themselves as they like? So helping ourselves and helping others, and is this the sacrifice to just giving in to some other people's demands?
I never think about it that way. I never think about whether I'm doing something for myself or somebody else. I just, when something happens, I get a big question. And over the years, sometimes very good things appear, very interesting ways of responding. And I think that if you don't have a question, you're not going to learn much. You know how babies, a lot of babies I notice, they'll just look at things. You know, not much is going on. They're just looking. Of course, in Korea, I have a Western face, but these kids will just look. It's like they're soaking something in. They have this great don't know mind. And if we have that, we'll begin to understand our parents. We'll begin to understand other people. We'll understand ourselves. And you don't need to think about, am I helping them? Am I helping myself? I've also realized that everybody has within them all the wisdom you need to solve any issue that appears in your life. If you practice, it just starts to come up more often because you're becoming one. Every problem comes from not being one, you know, making opposites. When you start to become one with what appears, the solution naturally appears. My mother, I'm the oldest in my family, and my mother used to ask me, you know, used to attack me a lot. And I got much better at handling her. But one of my favorites was one of her last great attacks. Visiting her once a year, as I always did, and hanging out for about a week, and we're watching the news on television. She's 91 at this time, and I'm 66. And out of nowhere, she turns to me and says, you know, you could have gone to Harvard University. And I immediately thought to myself, I graduated high school 50 years ago. She never even mentioned it 50 years ago. I want you to go to Harvard. I can't believe she's saying this, you know. But what I said to her is, Mom, why don't you apply to Harvard? I'll write you a recommendation. I have a pretty high position in my field. And with your CV, 91, you'll get in, I'm sure. And so we had kind of a good, I got that mixture of mom response, which was, you know, part of it was, oh, my son's so cute. And the other part was, why don't you listen to me? So if you start to pay attention, don't make this what they want, what I want. I don't understand that stuff. And I live with lots of people all the time. Then you begin to learn something, learn about yourself, learn about them. And then you can work it. You can work it. You know, some people may have very difficult parents. They're never going to accept it unless you do exactly what they want. Well, you have to figure out what you're going to do, you know, and who knows, maybe one day they'll get it. You did love them. You know? But I think that your wisdom's not going to come up if you don't really keep a question as often as you can. What's going on here? Why am I reacting like this? What is it that's going on? And it really will allow you to connect with situations, and then some kind of wisdom appears. You have to try, try, try. And I love that Zen Master Sung San always said, if you don't know, only go straight, don't know. So there's something to return to that's already the path. Not return, he didn't say, only go straight, my opinion, and argue it out until you win. You know, return to don't know. And then this kind of natural wisdom we have for what appears in our life will start to appear.
Okay, thank you, Zen Master Dubong. We have a question for Zen Master Song Hyang. That's from Valen from Malaysia. And he writes, you said, don't know, return to primary point, then maybe we can suddenly realize it. How does something come out of don't know? Also, is that don't know practice samatha or vipassana?
Don't know is don't know. You have to understand don't know. That's don't know is listening. Don't know is before thinking. And then trust what comes out. We were at a, Zen Master Sung San was giving a Dharma talk at a Tibetan temple in Boston one time. A beautiful big room and lots of banners and colors, and it's a beautiful room. And so the person, San's name, asked, are there any questions? And the person raised his hand and he said, you know, Tibetan Buddhism uses many colors, and Zen is more subdued, mostly, you know, black, white, gray. So why is that? And so Zen Master Sung San asked him, what color is the wall? And the person said, white. And Zen Master Sung San, he asked him, is that Buddhist, is that Zen Buddhism, or is that Tibetan Buddhism, that white? So what do you see now? Don't label it any kind of religion. What do you see now? And I was talking about believe in yourself, you know? So it's like, how is it just now? Boom, white wall. I see Devang Sanim's white wall. I'm glad I'm looking at you and not myself right now. It's great. But so don't make anything. Don't make this or that. How do you answer the question, what am I? Before you were born, where did you come from? When you die, where do you go? What is the point of this life? Why do you eat every day? That's the essential questions. Not, is it this or is it that? So listen, believe in yourself, move forward from that place. So I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zen Master Song Hyang. There's one question to actually all of you, because you are all Zen Masters. Okay, so maybe each one of you will answer it with one word. Okay, so the question is, if you know that today is your last day, what would you do of your life? Okay, so anybody can start from the...
Okay, I start. Already appeared.
Okay. Okay, so maybe Song Hyang Zen Master.
Sitting here talking to you.
Okay, Zen Master Debong.
Bye.
Okay, and Zen Master Bonshiem.
Was great to not really seeing you, but being at this conference and sharing whatever I can share with you. So that was great.
Okay, great. So, so we have still some minutes. So somebody asked actually late before. Okay, maybe again everybody can answer why we have to save all sentient beings from suffering. Why we have to do that? Okay, so Master Song Hyang.
That's an idea. Take away all your ideas. What are you doing just now? So Zen Master Devang said, doing the dishes. Is that horrible, or is that just doing the dishes? So just do that and don't have all this thinking about this and that.
Okay, the Master Wu Kuang.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the word saving, you save what's valuable. You don't save junk. You throw away junk. You save what's valuable. So the essential teaching is that every being that we encounter has absolute value. And to recognize that is to both save yourself and them at the same time. Ultimately, there is no self and them. Whole world is a single flower.
Okay, thank you, the Master Wu Kuang. The Master De Bong. And the words.
You don't have to save other people. That's an idea, because there are no other people. I think if you realize that you're unity with all things, and that's just words, you have to really realize it. I mean, if your hand is on fire, what are you going to do? Just leave it in the fire? So it's just, I think it appears naturally as we realize the connection we all have with each other. It's not something we have to do. That doesn't make any sense. That's
okay, thank you. As a Master Bonshim, why we have to save all beings?
So why don't we change the save into care? Just let's care about each other. Let's care about, first you need to care about yourself to become more balanced and more clear and more open-hearted. But then naturally you want to care for others. It just happens naturally. So let's care for each other.
Okay, thank you. We are out of time right now. There were 47 more questions waiting for you, and thank you very much for the participants for asking them. Probably we'll find a way, perhaps by typing some answers for you from Zen Masters on the forum. So I would like to wrap it up, our meeting. One more time, thank you very much to all the participants who were almost 800 of them who were listening and being with us for the last hour and a half. And also thank you for those who ask questions. And most of all, thank you to all the Zen Masters for giving us your teaching and sharing your time with us. So I would like to ask Zen Master Songhyang to lead us with 4 great vows. So let's put the hands in Hapchang, and following Zen Master Songhyang, let's recite 4 great vows.
Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them all. Delusions are endless. We vow to cut through them all. The teachings are infinite. We vow to learn them all. The Buddha way is inconceivable. We vow to attain it.